Hello everyone. Just wanted to take a minute to show you some knots and rope work that I use that I find really useful for goat packing. Any type of packing for that matter, but specifically goat packing. So first thing I'm going to show you is what my rope looks like when I pull it out of my pack. Now I like to keep my ropes coiled when I'm at home when they're just in storage. It's a great way to keep your ropes. When I'm going camping though, or taking my goats out for a hike, I put all my ropes in a daisy chain. Looks like this. Pull that out of your pack. I guarantee you when you undo this you will have no tangles, no knots, nothing. With a coil, you get one of those loops of the coil pass through itself. It's real easy to get a tangle in your coil. Takes you a minute or two to undo it. Just kind of a pain. But my rope looks like this when I pull it out of my pack. Now all that I'm going to do to undo this, and I'll show you how to redo it when we're done tying our knots at the end. This end here, just going to pull it back through. Now this whole thing is just going to fall apart real easy, like this. We can lay our rope out on the ground. The whole thing just comes apart beautifully like that. No tangles. Alright. Now some of you may know some of these knots already. I'm hoping you can learn something from this video though. I'm getting an end to work with here for the video. The first knot that I'm going to show you is just a simple bowline. It's been used for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, by sailors all over the world. A lot of advantages to this knot. It's very secure. Basically what it does is it gives you a loop in the end of your rope, which is very useful to have. And one of the best things about the knot is no matter how much pressure you put on it, it's always going to be easy to untie. I don't know about you, but when I'm breaking down camp, I really hate spending half an hour picking all these little knots out of my rope and digging my finger in there and working it back and forth just to get a stupid knot undone. So to tie the bowline, all you're going to do, I'll try and do this so you can see on the camera there, you're going to make a loop in the bite of your rope. Take the bitter end of your rope. All you're going to do is pass it through that loop. Again, loop, end is going through. Now this end of your rope that's coming out this way, you're going to go around behind it and then back through that first loop. Just like so. Tighten it up a little. It gives you a loop in the end of your rope. Again, no matter how much pressure you put on this, let's really try and crank on it. Just like if you were stretching out your high line, like in my other video that I showed you, really get a lot of pressure on there. There you go. Alright. Should be good and tight. Now this part here is called the back of the knot. You're going to break its back to untie it. So all you're going to do is take that, put a little bit of pressure. I can untie it with my fingertips at this point. Just falls right apart. Very easy. Now the overhand loop, which is what a lot of people like to use, it's pretty secure, but I'm not going to crank on it because I don't want to spend the next half hour on the video trying to untie it. You put a lot of pressure on that, it's going to take you a while to untie. I'll show you the bowline one more time just in case you didn't get it the first time. Make a loop in the bite of your rope. Take your bitter end, pass it through the loop. Here's the other end of your rope. Around that, back through that first loop. Pull that tail, and you can tighten up the whole thing. Very, very secure. If I could only have one knot for the rest of my life, this would be it. I'll show you one more thing you can do with the bowline real quick. This will also allow me to tie it one more time on the video. Again, this time we're going to leave a little more of a tail here. But loop, bitter end, through the loop, around, back through the loop. I'm going to pull a little more of that tail through this time so I can show you what I'm going to do. Again, tighten up the whole thing. If you're worried about this coming undone, or you want a little more permanent of a knot for whatever reason, take this end. All we're going to do is throw a couple half hitches around on top of the knot. You get 2 half hitches in there. It's going to look something like that. Really doesn't make it more secure in my mind. A bowline is not going to come undone on you, but ties up that end, just gives you a little more security there if you want it. So that's what that's going to look like. Alright, moving on. Now, when you're rigging a high line, I like to have loops in my high line that I can clip my animals into. One way to do that is the overhand loop. Pull it through. I don't like doing this because, again, once I start cranking on that and tightening up my high line, it's going to really cinch that knot down and it's going to take me a while to get it undone. The alternative that I like is a sheep shank. And I'll show you how to use the sheep shank for making loops in your high line. Very, very easy knot. It's a matter of making 3 loops. 1, 2, 3. As we make those loops, we stack them on top of each other like stairs. I'll try and show you so you can see here. 1, 2, 3. Alright, I'll do that one more time just so you can see it. 1, 2, 3. Alright, they're all stacked on top of each other. Now, if there's a tricky part to this knot, this is it. It's really not that tricky though. You're going to grab the 2 sides of your second loop, that middle loop, and you're going to pull them through loops 1 and 3. So, loop number 1, 2, 3. So I grab the 2 sides of loop number 2, and I simply start tugging them through loops number 1 and 3. As soon as I get them through, I'm going to take my pressure down to the 2 ends of my rope. Just tighten it up a little. Now, what I like to do, just to make sure it's secure, when I clip the animal in, I'm actually going to grab both of these loops and clip them into both of those. It just makes it much more secure. But again, the big advantage of doing it this way, instead of your overhand loop, we're really going to crank on this one, so let's get a good grip on it. Alright. Now, I'm going to put some pressure on it. We're really going to get this thing tight. Right? Whatever. Alright, now that's how it's going to be when your high line's all stretched out. There's going to be a lot of pressure on that, and it's not going to come undone as long as you have pressure on it. The beautiful thing about this knot is when you take your high line down in the morning when you're breaking camp, take the pressure off of it. As soon as that pressure is off, this is one of the easiest knots in the world to untie. It's gone. No tangles, no picking, nothing. Alright, I'll show you one more time. 1 loop, 2 loops, 3 loops. Stack them on top of each other in a stair-step order. Pull the 2 ends of loop number 2 through loops number 1 and 3. Then just put a little bit of pressure on the 2 ends of your rope. That's the sheep shank. Now, I'll show you one more application of the sheep shank. If your rope is too long, and that bothers you because you're OCD, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make 1 loop. Actually, here's the easy way to do it. We're actually going to make a coil. Just a short coil here. To take some length out of our rope. All we're doing here is shortening our rope. We're going to treat that as our middle loop. We're going to put loop number 1 on it. And we're going to put loop number 3 on it. And there. That can take all the pressure that your rope would originally, but your rope's shorter and you just have your sheep shank there in the middle. You can make that center coil as big as you need to. And again, when you're breaking camp, very easy to untie. Alright, finally, now that we're done tying our knots, we're breaking camp, we're packing our rope back into our pannier, and we want to make sure that for tonight, it's not going to be tangled when we pull it back out. So, I'm going to show you the daisy chain that we used originally at the beginning of the video. First thing you're going to do is find the two ends of your rope. You can actually do this with just as a single strand. You can double it over, make it a little shorter by using a double strand, or since this is about a 100-foot rope, I'm actually going to use a quadruple strand. I'm going to double it over twice. So here are my two ends. I'm just going to run down the length of my rope to find the center. And here it is. Sometimes another thing that I'll do is I'll tie a figure 8 or something at the center of my rope just to mark it for later. I don't know why. There are all sorts of knots that you can do that with. Anyway, center of our rope just to make it easy for later. And of course now I lost my two ends, but we will find them. Here we go. Two ends. Middle of our rope. Bring them all together. So we have 4 strands now. Run back down. Just make sure everything's laid out nicely. And this is where we're going to start. Right here. Now, all we're going to do is start like you're tying an overhand knot. Grab this here. Pass this around your hand. Overhand, of course. Right? Pull the bite back through that loop. So it ends up looking something like this. Now, put your hand through that loop. Grab your rope. Again, pull the bite through the loop. Tighten it down a little. You're going to repeat doing this all the way down the length of your rope. Bite through the loop. Tighten it down. Bite through the loop, tighten it down. I'm going to go ahead and do this down the rest of the length of the rope. It also looks kind of cool. All your camping buddies will be very impressed. Alright. Now when you get to the end, I'm sorry, I should have shown you this. When you get to the end, this last loop, just take the tail end of your rope and pass it all the way through. Snug it down. That gives you your daisy chain, which you can just toss in your bag. It's not going to get tangled. This also gives you a great place at this end here with these loops. Clip your carabiners or whatever else it is that you're taking with you. And I'll show you one more time the advantage of this. Pull it out of your pack. It's been rattling around in there all day, getting all tangled up, right? Okay, you can't tangle this. All you have to do, you got your tail end here. Just pull that tail end through that last loop, and the rest of it's just going to slowly fall apart. Like this. You have 100 feet of rope laid out on the ground with no tangles, no knots, nothing. Alright, hope you enjoyed this and you can use some of it next time you're out with your goats. Thanks.